First of all, your first reaction to this big decision of demonetization?
See, actually this move is long overdue, because if you look at the growth of the cash economy in proportion to the GDP, it was less than 10% till 2001. Now it is almost 12% of the GDP. Actually this should be going down as the banking habits picks up. The cash economy, the cash to GDP ratio must actually go down. Actually it has increased. This has also been facilitated by the rise in the proportion of the high denomination currencies in the total currency in circulation. It is as high as 87%. It has led to distortions in the economy, in that the real estate, the gold prices and usurious lending to small and micro businesses. This is also partly because of the failure of the banking system. But the fact is that the cash economy has moved deep into the Indian economy. And studies like Credit Suisse study show that 50% of the Indian economy is cash economy. Cash economy does not mean it is illicit economy. It is actually genuine cash economy. And 90% of the employment is attributed to economy driven by largely cash, or what is called the unorganized sector, which is largely funded by cash. So it's a very complex situation. And this has resulted in huge cash hoardings, transaction between cash and gold, transaction between property and gold, which resulted in unusual amount of hoarding of gold and investment in land, which pushed up the land prices beyond the reach of the common man. So it had distorted the economy in the last 10-12 years because of the wealth effect, what is called the wealth effect. And the high rise in the stock market also contributed to the growth of cash economy in India. So this situation had to be handled, and only a very strong government, and I am not normally used to praising any individual, only a strong Prime Minister could have taken this decision. But a decision like this also has its negative consequences. I'll say that what are the positive effect of this? You see, out of this total circulation of currency, about 14.5 lakh crores, that is 87%, is 500,000, out of which 14 lakh crores is with the 16 lakh crores of the currency is the of which 14 lakh crores is the 100,500 with the public. How much of it finances genuine economy and how much of it finances the illicit economy, it is not very clear. But over and above that is the fake currency in circulation. That is not counted within this overall figure of 16.6 lakh crores. So that directly affects the security of India, and I will deal with it first. For instance, 3% of the total amount deposited in the banking system since the demonetization began was in Jammu and Kashmir Bank. The extremists had given a threat to the people not to go and deposit the money. They have queued up to deposit the money. And it also is that they have there have been sudden drop in unrest. So it means that it had a very, very positive impact in a very sensitive place like Jammu and Kashmir, which is very, very important.
I think the people are not understanding the prime basic objective behind this scheme. It was the terror finance and the counterfeit notes the scheme is talking about. The RBI circular has clearly said that the government wants to, and government and RBI wants to fight this terror finance and the counterfeit currency. Do you see that this decision is going to actually solve the problem of counterfeits?
It will almost eliminate it, because the new currency will not be counterfeited. So the counterfeit currency has to go, and the denominations in which the counterfeit currency operates is 1,500 and to some extent in 100. 100 is very difficult to replace, so it has to be handled separately. So terror funding is a very important thing. Terror funding by fake currency is one. Funding by normal currency is another. For example, the Naxalite funding is through normal currency. They have collected hafta, and according to one estimate which I have, about 50 to 60,000 crores is the extremist funding in the Naxal affected areas, which is the cash form. See, it will be very difficult for them to change.
Come back to the cashless economy and to the banking system.
To change the currency into the new currency. It will be very difficult for them to deposit also, because the Naxal funding is designed for cash economy. It is not designed for bank economy. So I think the left extremism will receive a very, very serious setback because of this. Now going into the positive economic consequences of this. See, out of 12 lakh crores, we estimate according to the State Bank of India studies, 3 lakh may never come into the banking system because it is in such illegal form like bribes and kickbacks and with corrupt people in the system, that this money may not reach the banking coffers at all, which means this much will be the monetary surplus of the Reserve Bank.
Right.
Out of the 12 lakh which comes in, the average rate of taxation, even if you take it as 25 to 30%, the government should get a very substantial revenue, or 2 lakh crores or whatever. So these 2 lakh crores and 3 lakh crores put together, 5 lakh crores will be the ultimate benefit to the economy, which will have a far-reaching consequences on the Indian growth story in the coming years, which is very, very important. Another critical aspect is that so much money coming into the banking system has a very different impact. For example, if 5 lakh rupee cash is with the system, it will be only 5 lakhs. But when it comes into the banking system, because of the fractional reserve basis, these 5 lakhs can become 20 lakhs.
Because of the circulation and
no, because the bank has, let us assume, 100 rupees is deposited in the bank. You have to keep a reserve of 4.5%, and you have to deposit, you have to invest in government securities 21%.
Yes,
About
yes.
1/4 of the amount will get invested, and the 75% can be given as loan. The 75% gets into the banking system again. Like this, if you go, my estimate is minimum it becomes 3 to 4 times the amount of deposit.
Okay.
That will be the amount that will be
Actually
available, say a year from now, to operate the economy.
Right.
So the black economy is not an efficient use of the resources. Banking system transforms into a multiple of 3 or 4, and at the same time the amount that the government will get, it will not be, say, 21 rupees out of 100. It will also rise to about 50 or 60 rupees because of this fractional reserve basis. So the money creation by banks will increase the prosperity of the whole process, the more efficient use of the what is known as the printed money. The next important thing is, once this kind of deposits come into the banking system, there will be an all-round reduction in interest rates. This is very, very important, because one of the disadvantages that the Indian economy suffers from is the high rate of interest. Particularly this impacts upon the small and medium industries which do not have access to foreign funds. Big industries have access to foreign funds. They are able to draw money at international rates. It is the small and medium industries which are destined to pay a very high rate of interest, and there will be an all-round reduction in the rate of interest of the business, which is very, very necessary for our growth. Another important thing is, because of the withdrawal of the cash from the real estate economy, the land prices will moderate to the extent that I expect a drop of about 30 to 40% in land prices, particularly in urban areas, and it will impact on the rural land values also, which will increase the affordability of the housing, because most people are not able to afford houses because of the high land prices. Construction prices depend on the commodity prices.
Yes.
Land prices are
It's a big
dependent
chunk.
on the amount of money that chases land.
Yes.
Commodity prices have supply and demand adjustment.
Yes, sir.
Land prices do not have supply and demand adjustment.
And I
Supply
think-
is limited.
And I think this will have a positive impact on the other businesses also who are
Correct.
getting affected.
Because a very huge area of black money is blocked, it will mean growth in housing. Affordable housing will increase. Housing is a very important economic activity.
Right.
So this is another. Then the gold cash exchangeability is a very important source of promoting both. Now with the cash being cut, the gold economy will receive a very serious setback, and I expect the government to go for some gold reforms. But you should not fight gold like how the governments used to do in the past. You have got to have a persuasive policy approach to gold, about which I have written also, and this is not the occasion to talk about it. And generally I feel, because of the hit that ostentatious and unnecessary consumption will take, because of money being available very freely, very easily, that high fly consumption will go down, and this will reduce the possibilities of inflationary pressures which the economy is witnessing.
So
There will be a shift in the consumption model of the people and even lifestyle of the people.
So that was my precise question, sir. The argument that the people are putting from the opposition bench is that the people have been forced to go for the subsistence demand at this point in time, and that may have a subdued quarter of economy in terms of GDP growth numbers. So what is the possible impact on the GDP numbers you see from this move?
According to me, the GDP numbers that you are having does not really reflect the growth of the economy, because it doesn't reflect any employment. A jobless growth is not what we need. In fact, a correction that is taking place in the sense of prices coming down and growth actually taking place in terms of quantity is what will increase the jobs. If the prices increase and the nominal GDP grows, it has no value.
Yes.
So my feeling is that a moderation in prices, which will increase the production and genuine demand, because of the fall in the value of the commodities, or fall in the value of goods and services, including housing, that will be the genuine rise in GDP.
So that's very interesting, sir. So do you see that the price reduction will give some room to the RBI to cut the lending rates in the December policy, because this is one thing which everybody is waiting for?
Actually, the RBI will have to cut the interest rates only because of the high liquidity in the banking system. The high liquidity in the banking system, if the interest rates are not cut, the banks will be stuck with funds. What will they do with the funds? So high interest rates will be applicable only when the banks are starved of funds, which was so in the last couple of years.
Yes.
But now that the banking system is flush with funds, according to the reports, to what extent the reports are correct, I do not know. So far, 4 lakh crores have been deposited in the last 6-7 days, 5-6 days. It means that more money is likely to come, and if the banking system receives about 7-10 lakh crores, then, as I said, as a fractional reserve model, this will generate into a deposit and advances of almost 3 to 4 times in the next couple of years, because it doesn't take place overnight. But the infusion of this kind of money into the banking system will mean immediate moderation of interest rates. In fact,
how many basis points, if I can ask?
I know I am not on what the Reserve Bank will do.
Okay, yes.
I am on what the market will do. So the banks will be searching for where to put the funds.
Yes.
So if the banks are going to lend at less than the Reserve Bank rates, where will the Reserve Bank keep up the interest rates? The Reserve Bank can keep up the interest rates lower than the market rate.
Yes.
It cannot keep it higher than the market rate. So the Reserve Bank will be under pressure to keep up the bank rate.
And sir, because the budget is also around the corner, what is the impact or the possible impact on the government finance because of this? Because what will be the impact on the fiscal situation on the fiscal deficit numbers of the government by this move, sir?
Actually, I see the immediate benefit is going to be the tax that the government will collect on the amount that is deposited beyond 2.5 lakhs. This 2.5 lakhs rule is a very, very important soft landing rule. You know, in all Indian households, the housewives keep some money. Even the husbands do not know it. You know, if this 2.5 lakh rule is not there, then they will be forced to pay tax on the amount which they may have saved for over the last 10 years.
Or so.
This 2.5 lakh rule is a golden rule which soft lands the whole hard process of demonetization. The next key element is, for example, a family has 10 lakhs.
Right.
And it has 4 members.
Yes.
You can deposit 2.5 lakhs in the name of each of the members. So 10 lakhs of their savings is free of tax. Now, next thing is up to 10 lakhs you will pay the normal tax,
Right.
which is a very important. Because most of these families have saved money over a period, which is not illicit money.
Right.
Which they have saved over a period. They may have, here and there may have been some tax faults. But it will not be
Dirty money kind of thing.
dirty or illicit money.
Yes.
So these middle class people must have the relief. So up to 10 lakhs the normal rate of taxation, only beyond which the coercive measures will apply. Even taking this 10 lakhs as the basis for calculating tax on whatever money that comes into the banking system, the government should receive at least a quarter of the money that is put into the banking system. If it is 8 lakhs, the government will get about
Close to 2 lakh crores.
2 lakh crores, which will completely change the fiscal situation.
Sir, because you are also chartered accountant, what would you say to those who are still applying their mind to get away with this whole scheme and applying their mind to convert the cash economy to the banking system? There are reports that people are queuing up to the farmers, to the small small shopkeepers to convert their cash into the banking system. What do you say to those?
See, we are all that I can say is this may mean some leak. You are asking me as a chartered accountant, but I do not practice income tax law, because I gave up income tax law in 1983 because of the corruption that was going on in the income tax department. Because I had to maintain certain traditions, I kept out of all this. But I know what is happening in that field. So I believe that some leak will take place. It cannot be a huge hole. It cannot be a black hole. Some 5-10% loss is bound to be there in any massive scheme of this kind.
Sir, what is the impact on the cash economy, as you said in the beginning, on the agriculture economy, on the small traders economy, which largely is dependent on the cash economy? What is going to happen to them, because they are actually in problem
this
in the
is
initial
going to
phase?
be the biggest challenge in demonetization. The cash economy is of the order of 14 lakh crores, in which the hoarded cash will be, in my estimate, about 4 lakh crores. 10 lakh crores is operating the economy, which is both illicit as well as genuine. Illicit cash economy is going to receive a huge setback in this.
Okay.
Because it is very difficult to operate illicit cash economy. For instance, the kind of fee that these education institutions have been charging for capitation fee and all that, it is going to be difficult for them to charge such fee. Of course, the law is also being amended. This pressure is also there. So generation of illicit cash will come down rapidly, and it will take a very long time to generate cash of this kind. So I think the government will also act how to curb it. It is not that unless there is a special effort to curb illicit cash generation, it will stop. It will stop only if there are measures. On its own, it will again get generated in another 10 years.
Okay.
But so far as the genuine part of the cash economy is concerned, I will talk about this economic census 2014, which says these 58 million non-farming enterprises, which provide employment to some 128 million people. It has a capital of 12 lakh crores, of which only 4% is supplied by banks. Actually, the entire Mudra scheme is intended to finance. The Mudra scheme must actually taken off. But unfortunately, Mudra law has not been passed. My view is Mudra law should be passed immediately, and this sector must be funded immediately through the non-banking finance institutions and private financiers. They should be registered with the banking system, and their advances, the receivables and their advances should be refinanced by the banking system. This Dr. Manmohan Singh did in 1993 when the commercial vehicle sector was being funded by the banking system and the non-banking financial system only for new vehicles.
Right.
But only the non-banking financial system was financing second and third hand vehicles, but they didn't have the money. So Manmohan Singh said some 300 crores must be given for non-banking finance companies so that they can finance even the second and third hand vehicles. That saw a huge growth in the commercial vehicle sector. The same move can be adopted for all businesses which are being funded by non-banking financial companies and private financiers. The local banks branches can register the local non-banking finance companies and the local financiers and advance monies against their receivables. This is the Indian way of helicopter dropping money, which will be very necessary in the next 1 month. This will have a huge impact on providing liquidity, which otherwise the banking sector will not be able to provide directly.
So the Prime Minister in his recent address in Goa has said that this is just one step that he has taken, and there are several schemes which is running through his mind. What is the logical step, next step in this fight against the black money? And do you see that this is actually going to solve the problem of corruption and black money in the country?
You see, corruption and black money problems solving is one thing. Controlling and minimizing is another. Even Chanakya wrote in Arthashastra that there will be corruption and you have to provide for it. It's a practical mind. But you should ensure that there is no high corruption. What has happened is unbelievable amount of corruption. This has not only affected the economy, it affected the morals, it has affected politics, it has affected public life, it has affected even constitutional institutions. I don't want to mention names. So this is a huge hit on that. Corrupt have taken a huge hit now. They don't know what to do with their money. But it will be definitely for cleansing the system, and two logical steps are needed. A huge amount of Indian properties are held benign. And one of the most important sources is the participatory note system of investment into stock market. 75% in my view, 80% is benign.
In the stock market?
Participatory note investment. Of course, it has to be linked to how much battle you can have with the amount of foreign exchange reserves you have. But it is a very important area. Next is huge accumulation of lands by illicit operators through black money, bribery, kickbacks. Several 100,000 acres of lands have been bought in benign names. This is another area of attack. Third is gold, which is a very complicated mechanism about which I have written. This is not the place to talk about it.
Now come to the arguments from the opposition bench, which are arguing that what is the fault of a common man which has been forced to stand in the long queues to the ATMs and banks. Is it a really initial phase, and it will going to over very soon?
You see, I am not getting into what is ruling party and what is opposition, because ruling party will be ruling party, opposition will be opposition. But the fact remains that this operation could not have been made more comfortable. There was no adequate preparation. There cannot be adequate preparation. If you prepare more, it will get leaked out. Let's assume if you have moved cash of the new denomination into ATMs. People will know why new denomination is coming into ATMs and old denomination is being taken out. The essence of this move is secrecy. And I tell you, in the Indian system, that the government has been able to keep it secret for almost 8-9 months is a miracle, for which the government should be complimented in my view. Whosoever has done it requires to be richly complimented, because our system is porous. There could not have been greater preparation. If people are standing in queue because the announcement is sudden. And also 2 days you could not operate because
of the calibration of ATMs. Yeah.
Cash had to be reached to 1,25,000 centers in the
ATMs.
first 2 days. And in the next 2 days it has to be reached to 3 lakh centers. Naxal affected areas, northeastern areas, terror areas, unsafe areas. You know, it's a massive operation. In fact, if somebody makes a statement in parliament as to how this operation was done, it will be for the good of both the parliament as well as the public as well as the ruling party and opposition. I think the ruling party is as unaware of all this as the opposition. It's a massive operation. It could not have been made more comfortable. But this discomfort is a very small price to pay. In fact, one of the things I must mention is the extraordinary amount of patience shown by the people. I have never seen such a disciplined crowd anywhere. 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours people have been standing, no protest, no slogan. It is only in the last 2 days I saw some slogans, and that too not by the people standing in the queue, but by agitators. I will congratulate the people of India for having gone through this process. I think the difficult phase is over. Now it is a question of, now you have managed the family level, banking level, regular day-to-day level operations. Now it is a question of how to infuse huge liquidity on the production side.
Okay.
For which only I am suggesting that you must follow the Manmohan Singh model of putting money into the production sector, which is now reached only by cash,
Right.
through the non-banking finance institutions.
Okay, that's an interesting prescription that you are making, sir. But
2 more things I want to say. Public sector, government, BSC 500 companies should be asked to pay salaries in cash for the next 2 months. So that the pressure on ATM will come down.
Okay.
Even if they pay 25-30% salaries by cash, you know, cash expenses constitute about
10-20% of the
one-third to maximum one-half of a family's expense, depending upon at what level the family is. That much cash is given as salary
in advance,
cash, in advance. Then the pressure on the banking system will come down. This is another suggestion I thought of making.
Sir, what about making our economy from cash economy to now less cash economy to another step of cashless economy? Where do you see this movement going forward?
Cashless economy is not possible in India, but you can have a controlled cash economy, which is genuine. See, cash breeds itself because of the illicit opportunity that is created. Cash does not create illicit opportunity. Illicit opportunities generate cash. It is the other way around. Otherwise, cash is a very normal transactional medium of exchange. So, in India, where, for example, you have, they say about almost 1.6 crore retail shops. They all operate on cash.
Right.
The entire vegetable market that operates on cash.
Yes.
So it is very difficult for this to be transformed into cashless economy because this goes right up to villages. There are almost 6.6 lakh villages. And so this is a government, for example, the Jan Dhan Yojana kind of thing is needed to create banking awareness. You can never turn it into a plastic economy.
Okay.
You can have a banked economy. 5 years from now, maybe you will be able to reduce the cash requirements. To now, my estimate is we require about 12 lakh crores of cash to operate this economy at the maximum. Taking the GDP, nominal GDP at 150 lakh crores, 8% as the cash requirement needed. It is 12 lakh crores. If you have 6% as the cash requirement, then you need 9 lakh crores. But without cash, you cannot operate this economy, is my understanding of the Indian economy, having traveled to the country nearly 4 years. I traveled to the country. So, cashless economy is a dream. Minimum cash economy is practical.
Finally, sir, how do you see this move of demonetization? To sum up, how do you define this decision, and what is the future that you are forecasting or want to forecast from here now here on?
It is very much delayed. It has cost the country hugely in the last 10 years. It is inevitable. If this had not been done, whatever investment you make into the Indian economy will slip into corruption, kickbacks, and all kinds of illicit way of drawing money out of the system. Even the money that the government spends was not going for the right causes. In fact, one Prime Minister of India said 86% of the money that are spent by the government goes not to the beneficiaries but to middlemen. So this could not have been delayed. It is a huge investment that the political system has made. And whatever investment that the economy will make because of the stress in the coming quarter and the next quarter, this is a correction quarter. You should not take it as something which there is a reduction in the performance of the Indian economy. It's actually preparation for a higher growth rate. So I would not mind if there is a drop in the financial performance of the Indian economy. We are performing financially very well. For example, between 2004 and 2009,
yes,
the Indian economy performed at 10% growth rate. But what was the employment generated? Nothing. So I don't want a GDP growth rate which does not result in adding jobs. Jobs cannot be added when huge amount of money is pursued, few commodities, and gives prosperity to a significantly low section of the people. I think this investment this government has made, I am extremely happy that this is the foundation for growth for the next 10 years.
Finally, sir, because you are also a political analyst, the repercussion on the political economy of this country, and do you see that the political parties from here on are going to reform?
They won't reform unless they decide to reform. On its own, the reform will not take place. I think the idea of state funding of elections has to be pursued vigorously. Private funding of elections have to be stopped. There has to be an election tax at the state level, at the central level, at the municipal level. And the classification of political parties as national parties, state parties and local parties has to change. It has to be based on their capacity to operate in a particular area. And so considered, funding can take place at the state level, at the municipal level, at the national level, and central and state elections have to be aligned. It was made non-aligned only after 1971. Till then it was aligned. If these three things can happen, it can happen only by consensus. One party cannot force it upon. I tell you, then there is no way the Indian economy can underperform, because political system is one of the heavyweights on the Indian economy that has to be relieved.
Mr. Gurumurthy, thank you very much for talking exclusively to DD News, and all the best for the future.